Welcome and thank you for joining me today here under the oak tree. Pivoting point. No more fear running my life. When fear feels like a constant companion, for many years of my life, fear was not something that visited occasionally. It felt like a constant companion. Not always dramatic, not always visible to others, but present. It lived in a way my body held tension, in the way my thoughts anticipated problems, in the way I tried to stay prepared for situations that might never even happen. I became very good at coping, very good at managing, very good at appearing strong. Yet inside, there was often a quiet exhaustion that I could not fully explain. How fear shapes our inner world. Fear can influence how we see ourselves. It can make us question our worth. It can make us doubt our decisions. It can encourage us to seek safety in approval or control. Sometimes fear develops early in life. Sometimes it grows through difficult experiences. Sometimes it comes from carrying responsibility before we are emotionally ready. Sometimes fear can become part of our identity. We may begin to believe that being constantly alert is simply who we are. Living in emotional survival mode. When fear becomes familiar, we may not even recognize it as fear anymore. It becomes a way of living. We scan situations for potential problems. We try to anticipate other people's reactions. We take on emotional burdens that do not truly belong to us. This can create a pattern of internal pressure, a feeling that we must always be careful, always prepared, always managing. While this can help us function, it can also limit our sense of freedom. The beginning of awareness. The pivoting point did not arrive suddenly. It developed through small moments of noticing. I began to recognize how fear was guiding my choices, how often I was avoiding situations that might have allowed growth, how often I was placing my own needs aside in order to maintain emotional safety. This awareness was uncomfortable. It required honesty, yet it always opened a door to change. Learning to respond rather than react. As awareness grew, I started to experience with new responses. Instead of reacting immediately to fear, I began to pause. Instead of assuming the worst, I began to observe what was actually happening. Instead of pushing myself relentlessly, I began to allow moments of rest. These changes were small, but very significant. They signaled a shift from survival towards conscious living. The nervous system softens over time. Gradually, I noticed my body beginning to relax. Not completely, not all at once, but enough to recognize that something was different. My breathing became easier, my thoughts less urgent. I felt less driven to control outcome or protect myself from every possible discomfort. This was not the absence of fear. This was a new relationship with fear, one that included understanding rather than resistance. Choosing courage and self-trust. True courage is often quiet. It is the willingness to take small steps forward even when uncertainty remains. It is trusting that we have the capacity to handle life's challenges without being dominated by anxiety. At this pivoting point, I began to feel a deeper sense of self-trust, a recognition that I could live more openly, living with fear but not under its control. Fear has not disappeared entirely. It still visits at times, but it no longer defines my direction. It has become a signal, a reminder to slow down, to listen inward, and to care for myself with compassion. This shift has created a greater sense of inner peace. Not perfection, but steadiness. If you recognize fear in your own life, know that you are not alone. Change does not require becoming fearless. It begins with awareness, patience, and the courage to respond differently. The pivoting point is not the end of fear. It is the moment you realize that fear no longer needs to run your life. From that place, a quieter and more authentic way of living can gently unfold. And that is beautiful. So guys, have a great day. Thank you. See you next